Detroit is the true story film about the Detroit riots in 1967 and is the newest feature film from Academy Award-winning director Kathryn Bigelow. Like I just said, it's directed by Kathryn Bigelow and stars a massively star-studded cast, but primarily Algee Smith, Anthony Mackie, Will Poulter, and John Boyega. So, there's been a lot of momentum surrounding this movie since the reviews started pouring out. It's been heavily critically acclaimed. It's gotten a ton of great reviews. Personally, when that first trailer dropped, which is the only trailer I saw, I'm trying to stay away from like second and third trailers. I wasn't a huge fan of the trailer. Not necessarily what was in it, but how it was cut and pieced together. I wasn't a fan of the format that they had set up with it. I don't know, it just it felt off to me. So, I was going into this movie with a lot of hope for it. Kathryn Bigelow is a great director. A lot of people don't like The Hurt Locker. It's like, you look up overrated movies list and you'll see it on there a lot. I like that movie a lot. I like Zero Dark 30 a lot. And I walked out of this movie saying this could quite possibly be the best movie I've seen all year. This film is absolutely phenomenal. Now, let me get this out of the way. I've seen user complaints, primarily on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, complaining that this movie isn't necessarily factually accurate. I don't know about that. I don't know as much about this issue as I wish I did. I knew a little bit about the riots, but I didn't know that much about the motel scenario, which is what this film primarily surrounds itself around. However, I would like to point out that there is the last, still of this movie says, we took what we knew from witnesses and testimony because it was never really set in stone what actually happened there. So they did their best to do what they could. They made a dramatization. I mean, it's been done before, and people have loved those movies. I included love those movies, so I don't know. I feel like if no matter how accurate it was, I'm focusing on quality of filmmaking in this review. That's it. I'm not talking about factual inaccuracy. I'm not talking about factual accuracy. I'm talking about how this movie was made. And it is made excellently. Down to the T, everything really works with this movie. There are, minimal things that I was kind of going, that was a little weird. The ending, the ending goes on a little long. It goes on 10 minutes too long. There's time that can be trimmed off this movie. Not in the middle, though. I think the middle, it's long for a reason. I think it really shows how, uncomfortable and how terrible and how horrific this event really was that they're centering in on. And then there's a part at the beginning where it's rioting day 1, rioting day 2, and then that never shows up again because they focus on one specific thing. I just thought that was unnecessary. I thought they could have done setup in, I don't know, some kind of different way that wouldn't have required them to be this is day 1, this is day 2, and then never talk about the days again. I don't know, it was just, that stood out as kind of weird to me. But other than that, I truly loved everything about this movie. Everything moves completely seamlessly. And what that does for you is it makes the film feel completely real. And that is incredibly important for a movie like this. Specifically this movie, which is really supposed to parallel what's still going on today. And it's very weird to think that this is something that happened only 50 years ago, and it's still kind of happening in a way today. That makes this movie important. And like I said, every aspect of this film fits together. From Kathryn Bigelow's direction, to Mark Boal's screenwriting, to the cinematography, to the editing, to the music, to all of the performances. There is not one bad performance in this movie. If I had to point out standouts, I'd throw you Will Poulter, Maze Runner Kid, who has gone from just zero to hero in 2 years with The Revenant and fucking this movie, and will probably now be showing up more and more. He is phenomenal in this film. Algee Smith, who nobody knows, I had no idea who he was, blew me away in this movie. Not only is he an incredibly talented singer, he's an incredibly talented actor, and I really hope to see him in more stuff. And the one that everyone's probably going to be talking about a lot is John Boyega. This was sort of his real test. This was alright, let's see if this guy can really act. he can do it. He's great in this movie. He really brings something to a character that he's portraying. And I don't know, I thought he was great. I think this is going to open a lot more doors for him in the future in terms of like actual acting as opposed to Star Wars, which is acting, but it's, he's having a lot more fun with it. Obviously, if I had to compare the enjoyment of making this movie and a Star Wars movie, I'd like to hope that making a Star Wars movie was slightly more fun for him. But yeah, I mean, really nothing misses a beat in this thing, and it really, what it does is it puts you right there. It makes you feel like you're really watching this play out in real time. And that's really scary, because this movie is so difficult to watch. It really is. It's fucking brutal. It's brutal. It's violent the whole way through. There's a lot of slurs. There's a lot of language, and it's difficult to watch, especially knowing that it's real. And when a movie like that is able to genuinely place you in the center of the action, in the center of everything going on, and make you understand it, make you feel for these characters, make you hate certain characters, make you angry, make you upset, make you long for these people to get out of there, make you long for desperation. I mean, there's a point in this movie where I just kind of found myself shaking my head like, you bastard. Like you feel this rage in you for these people and this sympathy for these other people that it's so captivating. That's what works about this movie. Catherine Bigelow she does that similarly for other movies like Zero Dark 30, but that's much more of like gripping and intense. And the good middle chunk of that movie is like that. That's what the middle portion is. And when I classify middle portion, I'm kind of talking like, I'd like to say the entirety of the second act is really what's gripping the most. It's the most impressive feat that this movie goes through, because I would say that entire portion of this movie, which is probably like an hour, maybe a little more, a little less, is taking place in this one area, this one little area, and it never really feels out of place. It feels claustrophobic in the right way, like it's supposed to. You almost lose yourself in this place, and that's the point. They filmed a lot of this in Michigan. They filmed a lot of it, I think they were saying, in Boston, and it really works. I mean, this place really works, and they hold nothing back. If it's what really happened, they're going to fucking show you that. But they don't just do it, like, outright. There is a certain way that they'll shoot it, or a certain way that they'll frame it up to the point where you are able, it's like your eyes are the camera lens, and like you're standing there watching this play out helplessly as an audience member, knowing that this really happened and wanting to do whatever you possibly could to make it stop. You're in your head like, if I was there, what would I do? And that's what this movie's job was to do. Fucking hell, I'm on a roll, man! I'm on a roll! Come on! You done? Alright. Now that I've lost my train of thought completely, I mean, there's really, I wish there was more I could, like, say about this movie, but it's something you need to see. Because it's an incredibly important film to see, and that doesn't happen very often. A lot of times I find myself talking about, get out to see this movie, it's incredibly well made, it deserves money, whatever. But no, this movie is like, you should see it. It's really an important point in history for our country, and it's depicted incredibly well for every reason. If you're a big Oscar person, if you like to see all the Oscar movies, if you enjoy getting out to the theater to see all of those, this thing is going to be at the Oscars, and if it's not, whoo boy, there is going to be some backlash. Man, if this thing doesn't show up, people are not going to be happy. Myself included, I would not be happy if this thing does not show up at the Academy Awards. But yeah, I really do. I would say get out to the theater to see this. But before you do, know what you're getting into. Know what you're about to see. It's not an easy watch by any stretch of the imagination. It's very difficult to watch. But there are a lot of things at play here that really work in filmmaking, whether they actually happened or not. I'm not going to speak to that. I'm saying this film is phenomenally made, and to what I know, the accuracy that, like, from what I've seen on the screen in my head is, you know, my understanding of what happened until I go into this more. I think it's an incredibly important film to watch, and I think it's something everyone should just take 2.5 hours out of their day and go see instead of the Emoji Movie. I haven't even seen it. I'm not gonna see it, probably. I don't know. Whatever. I'll probably somehow end up seeing it. Like, someone will be like, hey, you wanna go see this as a joke? And I'll be like, sure, and then I'll walk out and be like, well, now I'm just upset about my life. So, what did you guys think? Have you seen Detroit? Have you not seen Detroit? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.